everybody, this is Miss Susie from Manitowoc Public Library, and we are here today at Wilfert's farm. It's a pumpkin farm and so much more, and we have Terry with us today, and she's going to take us on a tour and tell us all about what they do here at Wilfert's farm. Terry?
Thank you. Thanks so much for coming out here today. And as Susie said, I'm Terry Wilfert. My husband Dave and I and our family own and operate Wilfert Farms. It's actually been in the family since 1877, parts of it. So it's a family farm that's been around for well over 100 years. So we are very proud to continue what we do. So we are in the middle of our pumpkin patch. It's approximately 10 to 12 acres. Thousands of pumpkins. You know, a lot of it has been picked through already because we are the end of October, but there are still some pretty nice pumpkins out here, so you just have to look a little bit harder if you come out yet to find pumpkins. But we plant our pumpkins with a corn planter. We have special seed discs that we put inside the planter that the pumpkin seed fits in and drops 1 or 2 seeds at a time as they go down the field when they're planting. So pumpkins grow. They look like they're a vine crop, so they look similar to a squash or a cucumber, and they get big yellow flowers on them, and you use bees to pollinate them. So we like to see bees in the pumpkin field during the summer. It's really interesting sometimes if you walk out here and you can hear the bees buzzing during that time of the season. They get nice big yellow flowers, and some ethnic groups do eat pumpkin flowers. So once in a while, some of them will want to come and pick a few pumpkin flowers because they cook with them. So something that probably not a lot of people know. So a little interesting tidbit for you. Pumpkins come in all shapes and sizes and colors. We've got some of them that have all little bumps on them, look like little warts, and that's a special variety that grows that way. And I don't know if you're able to, there's one I see sitting right over there if you wanted to get a little picture of it. Kind of gives you an idea what some of them grow like. It's a special variety. Okay, get a close-up of it there. So a lot of people really like them. They're an interesting pumpkin to use for decorating. There's big pumpkins that use for jack-o'-lanterns, and there's small pumpkins you can use just for decorating. You can carve them out and put flowers in them as a centerpiece, or put a mum in it to decorate the outside of your house. And there's also special varieties for pie pumpkins. So, and a lot of people think you can use any pumpkin for pies, but your pie pumpkin is a special variety that's got a little bit sweeter flavor to it. It's got a little nicer color to it and a little better texture to give you a really nice pumpkin filling when you're making your pumpkin pies or your pumpkin bread or pumpkin bars or muffins, whatever you want to do with them. So, and this is just a small portion of what we do here at Wilfert Farms. All right, so this is a combine. It's used to combine corn, winter wheat, and soybeans. So we don't use the front part here. What this is called the header, and this is a corn head that's on here right now. So if you want to come around to the front side here, with the corn head, each row of corn goes in between these chains in here. So each slot takes 1 row of corn, and that takes the corn. There's a few cobs up in there, if you can see those. It just strips the corn cob off of it, and then the rest the stalk goes out the back of the combine, and the corn goes through inside here and ends up as shelled corn.
Yeah. Well, and you can see the stalks kind of.
Yeah. So, because actually, then the stalks, and then it's hard to. The stalks part of it goes through the bottom here and comes out the back, and then then the cob will come out there, but it takes all the kernels off, and they go up in there. And when then it gets full, then this auger comes out and then empties into like that gravity box or a semi truck that hauls it.
Okay. And what about this big old guy right here?
This tractor, this is called an articulating tractor because it can turn in the middle. I forget what the horsepower is on it, but it's a pretty, when you're pulling equipment like this tiller through the ground, you gotta have enough power that it can pull through the ground when your ground is, even if it's a little bit wet, because you are ripping it like 10 to 12 inches deep. So you have to have enough power on the tractor to be able to pull it through the ground. So, and you have the dual wheels on it to help keep you from compacting the ground. Because of the weight of the tractor, you have the duals on it to kind of spread that weight out a little bit more, so you don't have all that heavy weight in one spot. Auto steer, that you can set it that it will steer itself. You can set your points in the field for where the end of the row starts and where the row starts and where it ends, so that you know you can measure distance, and it keeps track of it keeps track of how many bushel per acre you're combining. We have one in the combine too, a monitor. It's like a computer screen. So there is a lot of technology that farmers use in agriculture nowadays, in their tractors, in their combines, in their sprayers, in their barns where they're feeding cattle. It keeps track of a lot of information for people. So that screen, they're able to tell where they are in the field, that when you're working land, you're not overlapping it and you're not leaving big spaces. So it helps you to be more fuel efficient as well, because you're not running over something a second time when you've already been over it. So another interesting tidbit is this is all irrigation pipe. We have over 20 miles of irrigation pipe that we use to help water the crops throughout the summer if we don't get enough rain. So some of them have, you see little pipe extensions on them. We call those sprinkler heads, so it's kind of like your lawn sprinkler, the little rainbird on the top, and as the water comes through it, it turns around and sprinkles in a circle. Each pipe is 30 feet long. So some of them are 3-inch pipes, some of them are 4-inch pipes, but they're 30 feet long, and we lay those out in the field, and the water runs through them, and then and a lot of times we'll water at night because you don't have as much evaporation and you get better coverage than if you water during the day with the sun shining or if it's real windy. But that gives enough heat that the blossom doesn't freeze. Okay. So we use the irrigation pipe for the strawberries a lot in spring. And then once we plant carrots, if you get windy days, because we have sandy soil that we plant our carrots on, right, the sand will start to blow and it will cut them off. It's just like sandblasting. So then we water the sand down during the day to keep the sand from blowing. You can get an inch of rain the night before, and if the next day is sunny and windy, that sand dries out very quickly and will start to blow. So it will actually cut off, those sand particles are so sharp, it will actually cut off the carrots, and then you lose your crop. Wow. So it's called a shredder, and I guess you could describe it kind of like a big lawnmower, because there's knives underneath here that, that they go around in a circle and they shred off the top of the carrots. We have to take the tops, the green part of the carrot off before we can dig it. And then they'll also use shred up the corn stalks that are left after we combine the corn. When it comes out the back of the combine, you know, those stalks sometimes will get shredded up before they get plowed under. So this is one of the semis. I don't know if you'll be able to really tell. So this is called a grain hopper that's on this semi. And that's what, when we combine corn, will go, when the auger comes out and they have to empty the combine, they'll empty it into a grain hopper like this. And that also has like a V bottom on it that the corn flows out the bottom when you open. You can get a look underneath it when you get closer to it. I believe it's about 43 feet long. So here.
Oh, sure. There it is.
Yeah. And so then that opens up. So the inside of the trailer is actually shaped in a V form as well.
Wow.
Terry, how many places do you ship? Like, where do you send your carrots and your corn or your whatever?
Our carrots all go to Lakeside. Our carrots all go to Lakeside Foods right here in Manitowoc. So after we dig them, we haul them over to their wash plant, which is not very far from our farm, where they actually will wash them, and then they load them onto another truck and take them downtown Manitowoc, where they are then either canned or frozen.
Right next to the library.
Exactly. Right next to the library, yes. And we have been growing carrots for Lakeside since the mid-1980s. So we grow about, this year we've got about 100 acres of carrots. So we've been growing carrots for Lakeside for 40 years, I think. So the strawberries look a little bit different this time of year than what you're probably used to seeing them look like during the summer months when you're picking strawberries. Notice how looks like there's very little foliage or leaves here anymore, and that's because after we're done picking strawberries, they all get shredded off using the shredder that we showed you before. So they get shredded off and then they get cut back so that they can grow new plants.
Terry, will you cover the strawberries at all for winter?
We will cover the strawberries. Strawberries have to go through what's called chilling days. So you have to have so many hours of chilling or cold temperatures for the plant to be dormant. And so then once the plant goes dormant, we will cover it with straw. So this straw that you see here between the row is what's left from last year that we covered with over the winter. And then in spring, it gets raked off and put between the rows in order to help to keep the weeds down. There's some irrigation pipe in here yet. These are the carrots before the tops are shredded off. And you can see the carrots down here. Oh, look at that! Delicious. So, very cool. That's a good looking carrot. It's kind of a short one.
Oh, no kidding.
But yeah, they get to be different lengths. You know, we like them to be a little bit longer. And they're not all going to be identical. But some of these tops have died off. You can see they get a disease and they'll die off, and then they grow new tops. You can see a new top growing in there. So,
I don't know. Do you normally wait this long into the season to do carrots?
Yes. We cannot start harvesting carrots until Lakeside tells us they want them. So they have a schedule that they use in their plant when they're canning other vegetables, and they start doing carrots after they're done with the green beans, so which is typically the end of September. So we a lot of times won't be done digging carrots until about the 10th of November.
Oh, wow.
And we can only take so many loads a day. They tell us how much they want every day. So we have to follow a schedule that they give us when we're harvesting.
So until they tell you, the carrots stay in the ground.
The carrots stay in the ground until we can dig them. Sometimes depending on weather, and you can see that it's going to get really cold and they might freeze in the ground that you can't get them out, then we might dig them and put them on a big pile so that we can load them after that, because sometimes they'll go later in November before they finish their canning and freezing process. So you have to be able to have them out of the ground once the ground freezes, and typically when it gets to be down in the 20s, low 20s, and it stays really cold, like all day and for a number of days in a row, then the carrots will start to freeze in the ground, and then they get damaged, and then they're no good anymore for freezing or canning. You can't process them.
Okay.
So actually part of what you're seeing here is deer damage. So the deer will actually come out and paw on the carrots to try to get them out of the ground. And then they just break them off and damage them, and they're no good. So deer actually do carrots. Deer like to eat carrots, but they do a lot of damage in the field when they try to eat them and they can't get them out. So that's what you're seeing on some of this, is a lot of deer damage. But you can see we are here. You can actually see the rows of carrots. There's actually 2 rows in a row. So there's 1 row here and 1 row here.
Sure.
And then we have a space, and then there's a row here and a row here. So there's 2 rows within a row. So there's actually 8 rows in what we call a bed.
Oh, sure. And carrots can grow that way. They can,
Yep.
They can be that close to one another. You
Yep.
don't have to worry about spreading them out.
We grow slicing carrots, and slicing carrots, you want that they only get about 1 3/4 inches in diameter, so they can be planted closer together so that they don't get too and then loosens the ground in between. Then we will take the digger and dig them.
And Susie's got the crown of the carrot cut off. Look at that. Smells like carrots.
Okay, so this is the final step of the carrot digging process. So this section then fits over what we called the bed, those 8 rows. So this fits right over that and goes into the ground and bumps the carrots up, so that the carrots will then travel up this chain and over these rolls in the back here. And so these rolls will take out whatever weeds or grass are in that piece of the bed that comes up here. So that pulls them through the bottom, and then the carrots just roll out to the back, go through this elevator, the side elevator, and the big elevator across the top into one of the orange wagons. That wagon will be traveling alongside the digger.
Cool. You even see some carrots in there. That, my friends, is 8 tons of carrots. Oh boy, that's a lot of carrots. That'd make my bunny very happy.